5 and 6. So, we're still reading, we're on part 2 of The Tale of Samuel Whiskers, and we've got up to the point where Tom Kittens seems to have been captured by 2 rats, one enormous one, and one called Samuel Whiskers, and one called Anna Marie. So let's find out what happens to him. Anna Marie did the tying. The old rat watched her and took snuff when she had finished. They both sat staring at him with their mouths open. Anna Marie, said the old rat, whose name was Samuel Whiskers. Anna Marie, make me a kitten dumpling roly-poly pudding for my dinner. It requires dough and a pat of butter and a rolling pin, said Anna Marie, considering Tom Kitten with her head on one side. No, said Samuel Whiskers. Make it properly, Anna Marie, with breadcrumbs. Nonsense. Butter and dough, replied Anna Marie. The 2 rats consulted together for a few minutes, then went away. Samuel Whiskers got through a hole in the wainscot and went boldly down the front staircase to the dairy to get the butter. He did not meet anybody. He made a second journey for the rolling pin. He pushed it in front of him with his paws like a brewer's man troddling a barrel. He could hear Ribby and Tabitha talking, but they were busy lighting the candle to look into the chest. They did not see him. Do you see him rolling? There's his rolling pin. Anna Marie went down by way of the skirting board and a window shutter to the kitchen to steal the dough. She borrowed a saucer and scooped up the dough with her paws. She did not observe Moppet. While Tom Kitten was left alone under the floor of the attic, he wriggled about and tried to meow for help, but his mouth was full of soot and cobwebs, and he was tied up in such very tight knots he could not make anybody hear him, except a spider who came out of the crack in the ceiling and examined the knots critically from a safe distance. It was a judge of knots because it had a habit of tying up unfortunate bluebottles. It did not offer its assistance, though. Tom Kitten wriggled and squirmed until he was quite exhausted. As you can see, there's Tom Kitten, and there's the spider looking at all the knots. Presently, the rats came back and set to work to make him into a dumpling. First they smeared him with butter, and then they rolled him in the dough. Will not the string be very indigestible? Anna Marie inquired Samuel Whiskers. Anna Marie said she thought that it was of no consequence. She wished that Tom Kitten would hold his head still, as it disarranged the pastry. She laid hold of his ears. Can you see him there? He's being rolled up in dough. Tom Kitten bit and spat and mewed and wriggled, and the rolling pin went roly-poly, roly-roly-poly-roly. The rats each held an end. His tail is sticking out. You did not fetch enough dough, Anna Marie. I fetched as much as I could carry, replied Anna Marie. I do not think, said Samuel Whiskers, pausing to take a look at Tom Kitten. I do not think it will be a good pudding. It smells sooty. Anna Marie was about to argue the point, when all at once there began to be other noises above, the rasping noise of a saw and the noise of a little dog scratching and yelping. The rats dropped the rolling pin and listened attentively. We are discovered and interrupted. Anna Marie, let us collect our property and other people's and depart at once. I fear that we shall be obliged to leave this pudding. But I am persuaded that the nuts would have proved indigestible, whatever you may urge to the contrary. Come away at once and help me tie up some mutton bones in a counterpan, said Anna Marie. I've got half a smoked ham hidden in the chimney. So it happened that by the time John Joiner had got the plank up, there was nobody under the floor, except the rolling pin and Tom Kitten and a very dirty dumpling. But there was a strong smell of rats, and John Joiner spent the rest of the morning sniffing and whining and wagging his tail and going round and round with his head in a hole like a gimlet. Then he nailed the plank down again and put his tools in his bag and came downstairs. The cat family had quite recovered. They invited him to stay at dinner. The dumpling had been peeled off, Tom Kitten, and made separately into a bag pudding, with currants in to hide the smuts. John Joiner smelt the pudding, but he regretted that he had not time to stay for dinner, because he had just finished making a wheelbarrow for Mrs. Potter, and she had ordered 2 hen coops from him. And then when I was going to the post late in the afternoon, I looked up the lane from the corner, and I saw Mr. Samuel Whiskers and his wife on the run, with big bundles on a little wheelbarrow which looked very much like mine. They were just turning in at the gate to the barn of Farmer Potatoes. Samuel Whiskers was puffing and out of breath, Anna Marie was still arguing in shrill tones. She seemed to know her way, and she seemed to have a quantity of luggage. I'm sure I never gave her leave to borrow my wheelbarrow. As you can see, they're escaping with the wheelbarrow. They went into the barn and hauled their parcels with a little bit of string to the top of the haymow. After that, no more rats for a long time at Tabitha Twitchit's house. As for Farmer Potatoes, he has been driven nearly distracted. There are rats and rats and rats in the barn. They eat up the chicken food and steal the oats and bran and make holes in the meal bags. And they are all descended from Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Whiskers, children and grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren, and there's no end to them. Moppet and Mittens have grown up into very good rat catchers. They go out rat catching in the village, and they find plenty of employment. They charge so much a dozen and earn their living very comfortably. They hang up their rat's tails in a row on the barn door to show how many they have caught, dozens and dozens of them. But Tom Kitten has always been afraid of a rat. He never does face anything that is bigger than a mouse. And that's the end of the tale of Samuel Whiskers. Over and out, Year 5.